She goes, Mariah, that's sex trafficking. They lied to get you there. You did not consent to that. And they made a lot of money off of it. And if you're free, we're going to be sentencing the star, Andre Garcia. So we would love your support. And I'm like, she said, if you're available and you can come to court and speak on this, you have a right to give a victim impact statement. That's right before sentencing. Susie met me in the lobby of the federal building, and she opens this door, and I mean, the whole room was packed. People were standing. I was like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? And like, that was the moment where you really like almost can't breathe. And you're just like, well, all of the, all of us. And then the prosecution starts talking. And that was when we learned in that conference room for Andre Garcia was that they were responsible for doxing us. Nobody knew that. And they were like, oh yeah, when we confiscated their stuff, we also found this. And we're like, wait, hold on. That was the most destabilizing part of this whole thing. Can we slow down? Like, so it was a lot of information. It was incredibly overwhelming, but it was also like the lights turned on. You know, for me, I had spoken earlier on carrying a lot of guilt and almost feeling like I deserved what happened to me because I was so complicit. I didn't try to leave. I had to sit through hours of other women explaining what happened to them when they did leave. One girl specifically said, I ran out of the door, and Andre, you ran after me down the hallway, took me to another room, assaulted me off camera, and drugged me back. The majority of victims were flown in, and if they protested, they would cancel their flights in front of them and tell them that they had to call their parents and tell them what they were doing and that they needed to get them home unless they were to comply. And so it was gut-wrenching, and for me, I had written on this literally, like, notebook paper, lined paper, my victim impact statement with a pen, and it was like, I was 19 whenever, and I literally they assigned, letters to us that were speaking. I was letter U. That's how many people were in front of me, and so I'd heard the exact thing that I just wrote down over and over and over, and, you know when Larry Nassar was sentenced and that dad got up to the podium and just jumped at him? I genuinely felt like I was gonna do like, I was like, "I'm about to get you charged. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Y'all shouldn't have called me. Like, this is not safe for anybody," because every girl got up there and said, "He raped me. He raped me." His attorney got up and said, "Excuse me, you need to acknowledge that he's not being tried for rape, so you can't acknowledge anything about rape." And she couldn't. She's like, have to acknowledge that that's correct. And all these girls were like, like you heard this audible gasp. And so you heard over and over these girls get up and say, he raped me. Andre Garcia had his mother, I believe it was like 2 or 3 sisters, and then like a niece, like a child, all these women. And you would see his mother get up and walk out and then come back and get up and walk out, like when she couldn't handle it. And I'm like watching this out of the peripheral while I listen to the same exact thing happen to me in different scenarios that I had played out in my head. Well, what if I would have done this? Well, what if I done that? And I knew in that moment that I had done the right thing. As hard as that is to say, like I knew that I had saved my life, but I was also about to probably end his because, oh my God, I had never experienced that type of emotion of hearing that. And so I get up to the podium and I'm like, I can't read this. I can't read. I like rip it. I was like, this says what everybody else. I literally can't read this. This is incredible. And I was like, can I address him? She was like, sure, yeah, sure. And I was like, your mom's in the back of this courtroom. Are you kidding me Are you kidding me right now? You're going to make your mom not only come to federal court, but she hears how you raped all these. And I just went in and I kept going back and forth from him to the judge because I was just so animated. I was so like, every girl that had gotten up before me was like, please sentence him to the max incarceration. And so I get up there and I looked at the judge and I said, it's not my place to tell you what you need to sentence him to, but I will ask for the copyright because they had no right to do what they did. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the copyright, but maybe I can hire an attorney because I don't know how to get this stuff down. I don't know what to do, and they don't deserve to be the owners of it anymore. So please, And then I like turned back to Garcia, and he was notorious. Like his mom and sisters were very emotional in and out of the courtroom. The entire sentencing, he was like this. And so I'm like talking to him, talking at him, and he wouldn't budge. And I just said, "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." And he kind of like snapped up and like looked at his attorney and looked at the judge. And so then he looked at me and I said, "Your mother is in the back of the courtroom listening to what she did to us." And he dropped his head, and I had my Larry Nassar moment. And I grabbed onto the podium and I said, "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." And I felt the judge's eyes, like I screamed. And so in my head, I'm like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I said, "I have a son. And if he turned out even 1 degree to what you are today, they break my heart. So I feel for your mom right now. You did that." And I went and sat down, and I completely dissociated. I had to read court transcripts because everybody from that point forward remembered me as being the one that screamed at him, "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." Like people didn't know my name. They just knew that. I didn't know if I had done something right or good or anything like that. I just was so overwhelmed by emotion. And at the restitution sentencing for Andre Garcia, Judge San Martino's granted us our copyrights, which is the second time in U.S. history that's ever happened. So that was really cool. And again, just adds to the like overwhelming gratitude that, you know, the judge that we got, the prosecutors that we got, the agent, like everything in this case, it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close. And we're really, really lucky. And, you know, hopefully we can make some serious change because of it.